Louder.
No, I don't want to go to the office, not today.
You need your late pass.
No, I don't want it.
Get your late pass.
No,
now.
thank you.
Oh,
No.
come on, get up.
No.
Get your late pass. Yes.
No.
All right.
Liam, this is sure.
Calling security.
No.
Yeah, you're gonna get in trouble.
No, you won't.
I'm calling.
No.
Oh.
No.
Fine. Security.
What happened here? What's going on?
Has no late pass. She came in late, and I need a late pass.
I don't think we need a late pass. Can't he just continue with his lesson?
Okay, and so what happened? You refused to get a late pass, and then what happened?
There needs to be some discipline here. She slammed the phone down. She got physical.
Okay, well, obviously we need to leave the room and discuss this. Come
Yeah.
with me, Erin. Grace is the sort of new restorative justice person on campus. You guys have just completed the restorative justice training. Okay, it is completely unacceptable that you got physical and slammed a phone down in a classroom. That is not okay.
It was just a phone.
Excuse me, young man, it is highly inappropriate for you to treat a teacher that way. I cannot maintain composure in my school. Do you realize how many other students I have to worry about? Not to mention the safety of my staff every day. There's enough going on here. We have a zero tolerance for any physicality. You have crossed the line. We cannot have you in this school. I'm afraid we're going to have to suspend you. You could even be, at this point, up for expulsion with actions like that.
I say that we give him a second chance to explain himself and explain the whole situation, including the victim, the teacher, and we should have a center circle of accountability to try to figure out a better solution instead of going straight to expulsion. So
Okay.
let's let it rest for a week, and then we'll gather together again and talk about it.
And what are we doing about Erin in the meantime?
We
Make it up.
will keep her in school, but have a better eye on her.
Okay, all right. So now, so I will reluctantly agree only because we have that grant money coming for that restorative justice program, and that's important to our school. So I will reluctantly agree to have the circle of accountability, but I'm telling you, this is not acceptable behavior, and we're gonna have to like take this seriously. All right, so now we're gonna do our circle of accountability.
So it's a week later. Another student or witness to explain what happened. Anyone volunteer to explain what happened?
You guys were in the class. What happened in the class? Oh, you're the teacher.
Liam, what happened in the class?
So,
Erin.
what?
Erin.
Oh, Aaron went up, didn't get a late pass, which doesn't make any sense, because you should come to the office next time. It's a rookie mistake.
That's not how
And then,
I don't go like that.
and then, like, the teacher wanted her to get a late pass, she didn't, she called security, sent her phone down. That's fine.
So Erin slammed the phone.
Yeah.
So now we go to the victim, which is the teacher in this scenario, and we ask him what he felt when Aaron denied the order or whatever to go to the office.
I just felt so much anger. All of these problems were just piled up on me, and just one more did not make anything better. So I just had to overreact.
And then now we go to Aaron, and we would like you to explain the situation and the entire story of what happened in the morning and how you could come to school like that, or what you were feeling at that moment.
Well, there's a short answer to this. I'm just really done putting up with everything. What basically happened is that I have a sick little brother at home, and so I have to spend all night taking care of him, making sure he's safe and able to sleep and doesn't affect my little brother, my other siblings. My dad's now in jail because he harassed a cop. figured, sounds like something he would do. And my mom works really late hours, and we barely have any food, so I haven't had any food in a few days. So my siblings could get the food and nourishment. So, and I was walking today and kept getting harassed along the way, people calling me faggot and stuff like that, you know, the usual. And I missed the bus, so I had to walk 5 miles, the 5-mile trek to school. So I guess you could say I'm not really in a good mood.
And then the teacher would share some of his worries or stresses or insecurities with the student. Try to relate.
All these like student loans to pay for, I think, and my girlfriend left. And yeah. And
What happened this morning? What happened the morning of it? Did you get confronted by another staff member? It's okay.
yeah, I got like hit by a car.
No, you were told by another staff, member you had to like get tougher with our students.
Yeah, I had to like get tougher.
Okay. So, Grace, anything else?
Yes, and then, so eventually the teacher now understands where Aaron has been coming from. And,
Quest.
um,
Oh, Mr. Quest.
then I'm going to ask Erin what she could do to restore the teacher's trust. And the students and the teachers can make any suggestions that they think justify it.
Oh, justify?
Oh, I was gonna say not 6 months of community service. I'm not doing that.
How about 6
Stay after school and help grade papers.
I
I'm
don't
trying to
know.
come up with solutions. I've never had this happen.
Take away that lunch.
Okay.
Better.
Like I'm not getting any food
He's
anyways.
already not getting any food.
30 lashes.
Lashes.
Gosh,
Okay. We're going capital punishment. All right, so, Erin, you don't have idea, you said stay after school and help out,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, they could do that. Like help me grade papers and stuff.
I got you, fam.
What about your family though?
Yeah, what about your siblings that you have to take
And
care
I'll give you rides to and from school.
of?
Sketchy already.
No, thank you.
Yeah, you just broke up.
I can come
It's
early.
very nice.
I can come early in the morning and help out since I can't really do afternoons.
Okay.
And then does the principal agree to this arrangement?
I'd like more specificity about how long you're gonna be helping out.
6 months.
Yeah, sure, 6 months.
I mean, this is a pretty serious thing, getting physical with
Online.
with a piece of, you could have damaged school property,
You're
and
just taking.
you came awfully close to losing your temper, and,
I mean, I didn't punch him, so
No.
I think that's gotta be honest.
no, but you used your body, and that's
About a month.
a month of warnings, and what time will you be arriving to help out?
What time do you arrive at school, Mr. Quest?
2 a.m.
I will be there. I will be there at 1:30 a.m. sharp. Be there.
All right,
Why would you be there at 1:30?
What?
2:30.
Why do you be there?
Let's do this.
Yeah.
I think that sounds acceptable, as long as,
No sleep.
as long as
Okay.
Quest agrees.
I agree.
Okay, so we're gonna sleep for a month.
And that's how
You're
the
fine.
circle.
That's how the circle goes.
Yeah.
Was it even close, Terry? Was it even close?
I mean, you had the accountable person actually go through a plan, which was that month.
Okay.
Reasonable, I don't know about 2 in the morning, but
Yeah, right, 2 in the morning.
Quest felt like it was acceptable to take that and even offered to give the rights and stuff, which
Right,
actually shows support in the restorative justice way.
yeah,
The principal, as well as understanding or a disagreement between teacher and student in the classrooms here as witnesses. I think it was pretty damn close.
okay, cool, yeah. And so what we were trying to obviously show, well, let me ask you, what did you hear in that? What, I don't know how many of you have been to the principal's office, but have you?
5
Okay.
times.
So what was this like compared to the interactions you've had with the principal's office?
At which school?
Either one.
Not the same.
Any of the many principal's offices that you have visited.
Wasn't it like 5?
Okay.
No.
You can draw upon your vast experience with principal's
Okay.
offices.
So, should I just?
Go ahead, lay it down on us.
How does?
Okay, so like one time I went,
compare?
I said to this kid after like we were like
Okay, you don't need to go into all the scenarios of the
No,
things.
please
This is
tell
the
us,
one.
please.
Okay, all
We're
right.
not
They're
getting
kinda
background
funny.
information.
I know they're gonna be.
So I was playing like soccer with this kid, and I faked him out, and then I scored on him, and I said, "Was it juice box or was it the pipe?" I don't remember. But I either said, "Put that in your juice box and drink it." Wasn't one.
No, you said put that in your pipe and
Oh
smoke.
yeah, I didn't say that one.
Put that in your pipe and smoke.
And I was like, "What was that?" It was like 4th grade.
Something like that.
Oh my god!
4th grade.
Did you get that from my
I got it from my dad, so
His
you know.
father used to say that.
So
So,
I didn't say the chief part, which was better because it was like Alpine and a bunch of Native
Alright.
Americans, right?
Go on.
So then I got suspended for that. And then, I can't really remember the other ones. 'cause
So you got suspended for that.
I've been to the
Yeah.
principal's office.
How did it make you feel when you got suspended?
I mean, I was kind of sad, but I mean, it happened a couple times before, so I was pretty much used to it.
What about the first time?
The first time, yeah, I guess I was pretty sad. So,
Really? 'Cause when I got suspended, when I got suspended, I was pretty scared. I was like,
slapped by my mom because I
well, no,
got
my mom was like the assistant principal, and like, she was actually the one who suspended me. Opposed to the other kid whose parent was me and this kid always got in trouble, and the other kid like never got in trouble, but I did because his mom was the principal.
My
My mom
hands
actually-
were tied.
She actually did something about it, but then the other kid didn't get any punishment. So that was like the end.
Did you have an in-school suspension?
I had 2 in-school suspensions, and then I had like 5 out-of-school suspensions.
So
But none of them were on my record.
so when the other kid didn't get any punishment, how did it make you feel?
Oh, that pissed me off pretty much.
Why do you think that's for? Why do you think they didn't punish him?
Cause like, I don't know.
Why?
What?
Why do you think you didn't get punished?
Oh, cause his mom was the principal.
Well, that's part of it, but I think you had also gotten labeled as kind of a
Oh,
bad
yeah.
kid, right?
Yeah, I kinda was, so.
I've been to the principal's office before. It was like, I think it was 6th grade. I punched a person in the face and made them bleed.
Oh,
Such.
Yeah, you did. Oh.
How long did you get suspended for? A week?
Yeah.
Damn.
It was.
I only got like days at a time.
You were suspended for a week?
Come on, kid.
No, but it was just
Be
like I
like
got
me.
suspended for a week, and then for like my first immediate reaction is like, oh no, is this going to be on my record? And I immediately started to freak out. And then afterwards, it kind of was just like, you know what? Oh well. I was like, okay.
So how many here has been suspended before?
Times 5.
y'all are bad.
So
I just punched her because she was bullying me.
how many, or fine, how many got suspended for a reason that you thought wasn't right? So for you, for instance, the other person got in trouble. Alright, and for those that haven't been suspended, have you seen somebody get in trouble for a reason that you thought you shouldn't be getting in trouble
You
for?
saw me. So.
Community service.
Grace, didn't you have that teacher, remember that teacher complained about the length of your skirt or something?
Oh,
What
yeah,
was it?
It wasn't like, I was like, I don't
It's
know,
so
I was
wrong.
like 8 years old. I was like really young too, and I didn't even know what clothes
It's
were.
really wrong.
And like, my mom was dressing me at that point, and she's like, okay, everyone line up, and then they started like taking out rulers, which is just like the dumbest thing, and even if you were like shorter or taller, they would just like say like, oh, you need to go to the principal's office and stuff, so.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of those encounters.
I've never been dress coded, but I've been like,
I've never been
Suspended,
suspended,
that's
but I've
teaching.
been suspended. That proves a lot apparently.
Okay, so we're gonna bring it back around to, what was the question? Have you ever seen somebody be,
Punished for
Yeah.
a reason you think should have been punished for? Another one is, how about for those that have been suspended and stuff, is you said you felt disappointed or sad when the first time you did, right? Why do you think you didn't feel that afterwards? After
Well,
like the
'cause,
second,
like-
the third, the fourth?
One, like 2 times, they're all like 1-day suspensions. So like 2 times after, and like I didn't really get like the gravity of the situation, and I think that's the right word, because like I was like so young that I didn't really like realize that a suspension is a pretty big deal. But I mean, they never put them on my record or anything. I only had to. Did they put the ones at the middle school on my record? Anyway.
Thank God I
So I mean,
middle school.
I do technically have.
But you had in school.
I had, yeah. In schools were worse though, than because we had to sit in the office all day.
I think Terry was trying to make a point. Probably, I'm just guessing.
But wait, what was the question again?
Why do you think you didn't feel as?
Oh, because I thought I was kind of like almost, I want to say used to it, because it happens so often.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, I know.
So, do you think you're prone to act out more now?
Oh no, not at all. Like
Are you
completely
more-
opposite. Because like I used to get suspended like at least once a year. Now like after 7th grade, like I just stopped.
Do you think you could prevent it at an earlier age? So do you think if they would, say we did a circle rather than go through the principal's office and be punished in a way that would be on your record or not, do you think the circle would have probably helped you out to have your feelings be heard from others as well as
Probably,
the teacher being
yeah.
able to do that?
Maybe.
Probably helped a
How was-
lot.
How was your, was any of the suspensions dealing with the staff member in the school? Or was it more with just students?
I think it was like,
I think it's mostly students.
yeah, it was mostly students.
Do you think if you sat in a circle with that student face to face and able to actually see each other's perspective, do you think you would think differently what you had done?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
Probably.
So,
Cause like, the kid did kind of like, I want to say he like got off and getting me in trouble almost. Is that kind of accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it would have been either way.
so, I came here because Mark invited me to talk about the Willful Defiance. How many of you guys heard of Willful Defiance? Because on Sunday I explained it to you guys.
Raise your hand.
Well, do you guys want to explain kind of what Willful Defiance is, or would you like me to explain it?
You can explain it because probably Richard did.
So Willful Defiance is, it's a vague policy within the school district. So when you're in trouble, how many of you guys heard of zero tolerance policies? So I want to say before 2012, you could actually get expelled for willful defiance. So what had happened today, Aaron would probably be at an alternative school rather than normal school. And because of that, you would have lost a lot of school time. You were suspended for about a week, right? Was it hard catching up? Were teachers being openly easy to give you back the stuff that you needed that week?
No, they just said, alright, well, guess you missed it.
What about tests? Did you guys miss any tests throughout the suspensions?
Well, my teacher was a little lenient, but then there's one teacher that was a little lenient, and there was others that weren't. One was like, okay, since you missed this, so we'll just do this worksheet, and then I'll see if you can do it, and I'll add it to your grade. I won't, like, if you get like enough, I won't put it to your grade. But like the rest are just like, if there was a test, they're just like, sorry, maybe you shouldn't have done that.
I just remember writing like so many apology notes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, same. I had to write it a whole like 400 words.
I had to write apology notes. Then in middle school, I had to write explanations on what happened from different perspectives.
I had to write.
Yeah, but that's more impactful than
I
just
had to write.
suspending you at least.
I had to write like an apology note because when I punched her, it kind of made her bleed. But I mean, I didn't feel sorry at all. I felt really good because Angeline. because
Oh, right.
she's a very abusive kind of person. So I was friends with her for a while, and so finally I had enough. But when I had enough, she would always she kind of pushed me in the corner. So my immediate reaction was just to get physical. So I punched her, and then it didn't go out well. But my mom knows, and she was just my parents were disappointed. So I was like, okay, but I had to write this full-blown 2-page apology letter front to back on each page about how I was sorry, and I thought it was really stupid. I was like, no, I'm not gonna write this.
Yeah, I wrote notes for things I didn't do.
Yeah, and Willful Defiance, it's a way for teachers to pretty much be able to suspend and expel a student based on just actions that doesn't really affect the environment. For example, I know when I was at school at Hoover and I would put my head down, the teacher would be like, get out of my class, you're not listening. But the night before, maybe I was at home dealing with a lot of family problems, or there was something on the way to school that had affected me. Teachers don't see that perspective. So what restorative justice do is when a willful defiance act happens, you're able to sit the teacher down and you're able to sit the student that act out in a way to understand what was the student need and what had happened that they didn't have that created them to act out. In a teacher's eyes, how many of you guys have been yelled at by a teacher?
Oh
And
my
you're
God,
like,
so many
"Why?"
times.
So many times in this house, too.
I was even in your class, and I was just sitting
Did you
there
ask me if I was
listening.
on crack one time?
Seriously?
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
not
my
like-
physics teacher, I was
Remember that?
loud and he accused me of being high because I was loud.
Really? There was one time where I was talking, and I was talking, and they're just and they thought I was doing some selling some drugs, and I was just like, what?
And
What is drugs?
so,
What is
No
drugs?
touchy feely.
Yeah, there's a no touchy feely thing, which I kind of understand. But if you were to even a handshake, you'd be like, don't touch the other person. It's just like, okay.
so those that raised a hand when I said if the teacher has ever yelled at you, those that raised a hand, how many times with just fingers, how many times have been yelled at for no reason, do you think?
Oh, yours are 10 times. It sucks.
20 times.
So the reason I ask that is because in your mind, you're like, all right, this teacher is getting me mad, or this teacher is yelling at me for no reason. And either you're going to feel mad or you're going to feel sad that you're being yelled at. But in a school environment, that shouldn't happen. A teacher should be supportive for you guys, but we do understand there is problems at home that they deal with. But do you guys know that?
No.
And this kind of circle, this thing is a way to understand what is happening with them as well as what's happening with you guys.
So it's to create empathy, right? So you can sort of get a glimpse of what they're like. I mean, Aaron coming in late, in and of itself, it really wouldn't have been disruptive to the class. It was you demanding that he stick by the policy that made it disruptive to the class. But evidently you didn't realize this, but that morning you had been confronted by a staff member who said your class was loud, and you're a first-year teacher, you're just figuring it out. You have a lot of pressure, so if you're in a circle situation, you can begin to sort of hear what are the underlying, problems and emotions and things that came into the situation and that brought this all to a head.
Yeah,
And it's,
awesome thing. It was there was one time where my teacher yelled at me, but that was right when really, really bad family problems. My grandma got cancer, so we were always constantly 24/7 awake because she was with us because she had really bad health problems. She'll just randomly code out and just stop breathing at night. So I would always have to be constantly awake, making sure when the event never came in, when paramedics were coming in. So there was one time where that happened and I was so tired and I fell asleep, but then and then the teacher just kept yelling at me and they said how I was disrespectful, how I was never going to go anywhere in life and I might as well just give up now. And I was just like, okay. I was like, I'm sorry for taking a 5-minute nap.
so,
Yeah, I've noticed.
and so willful defiance, like I said, is vague. there's never really a true definition of willful defiance. So you could act out and the teacher, for even just sleeping in class, one school will suspend you for that, but another school will be like, all right, well, they're just sleeping. How many times do you see students do something wrong and they don't kick them out, but they kick somebody else out?
I've been kicked out of the classroom.
I've never been.
Like I
kicked
walked
out of
in and this lady accused me of doing something even though I was in the bathroom.
So willful defiance, like I said, is so vague to the point where it's pretty much the teacher's biased opinion on who they want to kick out or not. Same thing as a principal, when they suspend students, they would be biased on their options. They're able to pick out, all right, you have a long record, I'm just going to suspend you for this long, or oh, you're a good student, you're not doing anything wrong, I'm not going to suspend you, but you, on the other hand, I'm expelling you. They're able to make that decision.
So we invited Terry here to talk about willful defiance because it actually, even though we've kind of had fun talking about it tonight, it actually has pretty huge consequences for many students that are right here in our neighborhood. As it turns out, willful defiance is the reason often that's cited used to suspend and expel students, which happens at a much higher rate south of the 8. Is that correct?
Yep.
As opposed to schools north of the 8. So tell us about some, give us an example of some of those statistics.
So Hoover, Crawford, Lincoln, or well, here's one. I don't know how many of you guys know what happened at Lincoln with the cop being hospitalized and 4 students being hospitalized, 1 taken to juvie. That officer had already had a complaint being aggressive with the student. Officer was still able to be on campus, and those students were slapboxing at lunch. So right there.
So what is slapboxing?
It's like open hand fighting.
So it's play fighting, but in the eyes of the cop, the eyes of the staff, it's considered a brawl. And since there's so many students, even the media were portraying students as mobsters, as brawlers, and pretty much were stating that the officer was the victim of the crime. But in reality, if you would have done the restorative justice with those students, rather than having cops come in there and pepper spray and taser them, it wouldn't have happened. It would have been a safer community. There's a lot of talks that if we do a circle like this, the officer, they want to do, so they approached my organization, was like, hey, can we do a circle with the cop and the students? And we couldn't do it because if we were to do the circle, in media's eyes, the cop was the victim. But the organization, the community felt that the students were the victim. So we had the cop in this position sitting down as the victim, that is pretty much a slap on the wrist for the law. The police department, like, they could get away with anything. They could get away with tasing students, they could get away with pepper spraying students. So, like I said, so Lincoln is one example of that. They are really serious with school resource officers. They are really serious on the willful defiance. Hoover last year had about 300 suspensions on willful defiance. All of them, most of them were suspensions where there's some alternatives with the circles that's happening today. Crawford had, I want to say, over 300 suspensions, or 300 complaints about willful defiance. Out of all of those, only maybe 20 were suspensions, and the rest were alternative actions, which are restorative service. And if you go above the 8, Scripps Ranch, La Jolla actually only had about 40-something suspensions in their whole school. And within that, about 20, so half of them were willful defiance. So willful defiance isn't just a problem in below the 8, but it also is a problem above the 8. The only difference is we restore what had happened below the 8 rather than just suspending students above the 8. Escondido, so how many of you guys know where Escondido is? A little bit up north. There's a school called Orange Lake, population of about 1,000 students. Their suspensions last year, 438 students were suspended. Almost half of their students. The majority of them were Latinos. the demographics show that it was the people of color in Orange Glen that was the one being affected with being suspended and expelled. And even south of the A, our neighborhoods, like City Heights, how many of you guys know where City Heights is? Right there. You can see the difference completely once you cross Oklahoma Boulevard. You can see it just like that. At Hoover, when I was there was a lot of fights, there was a lot of brawls, there was a lot of students that were being defiant, but it was because of what's been happening in our community. There's trauma. There's not a lot of trauma above the 8 compared to the neighborhoods like what we have over here. So of course those students, it's healthy up there. You get healthier lunches, you have more support from teachers and parents, and you don't have that down here. So students act out. Is it fair that they're dealing with stuff at home and then they get in trouble at school for it and then miss even more time to learn? Is it fair? It's not. That whole week that you missed Quest, and you said it was hard to catch up, right? The teachers at Hoover have been like, you could do your homework from last week, but the most grade you'll get out of them are C's. And it's not fair because I was suspended based on the principal's position, and now I'm behind my schedule. So Willful Defiance is being looked at right now at the state level. So our legislators, assembly members, governor, there's a bill that next year they're going to review. There was a 3rd grader, I want to say in Sonoma County up north, that was arrested on Willful Defiance, a 3rd grader in handcuffs. So small they had to handcuff them from the arms.
What do they do?
Just acting out, and this student has ADHD. So the only thing that happened was that the student just was always up and about, and the teacher couldn't handle it. So they called the officer, and instead of the officer asking, hey, what's wrong, or what's going on, it's more like, let me see your hands, and handcuffed him. A 3rd grader. Probably not even as big as the tables here. And of course, parents were upset and stuff, but it was a policy. It's a policy there. It's 0 tolerance.
And parents love to hear 0 tolerance because they want to keep their kids safe, and they think, I want the book thrown at anybody who hurts my child, right?
But then it affects the parents too.
Of course.
When you miss school, who has to watch you at home? Or so they say that parents should be there at home. What about when they have to take time off work?
Duke used to take Liam with him to work, and then he got spoken to at work. I mean, we had a heck of a time because he was constantly, I shouldn't say constantly, he was frequently.
I feel like it was more than 5. I don't know.
We were frequently suspended.
Probably say so much you don't even know. And I'm pretty sure most of those cases could have been prevented, right?
Like during the tail end of when I went there, like wasn't there a time where like 5 people got suspended or something like that for like separate incidents? That's pretty crazy.
So, talk to us about the school to prison pipeline and how Willful Defiance might contribute to that.
School to Prison Pipeline is a nationwide campaign right now. So if you could Google it, and you can read about it in Louisiana, you can read about it in New York, everywhere. It is the idea that there's a system in place that people of color to be incarcerated rather than educated. It's called systemic racism. So California in the last about 20, 30 years built 22 prisons and only built 1 university.
How many prisons?
22 prisons, 1 university. Prop 47, so this is a proposition that was passed, I want to say last year, that it gives the second chance program for some drug offenders, the adults in this case. But the money is supposed to be distributed for truancy, for schools and all that. Instead of doing alternative routes to truancy, they're hiring more police officers to catch students. That board that makes that decision on where that money should go also just now agreed on a bond to build $2 billion more worth of prisons rather than give tuition to students. It costs, I want to say, hundreds of thousands of dollars just to lock up one student for a whole year, when that could be paying for 4 students' colleges.
So willful defiance leads to the suspensions and the expulsions,
Which
which
leads to
then
the
leads
criminal
to the
system.
student getting behind in school and then potentially not finishing school. Or it also leaves them out on the streets, which then exposes them to potential criminal activity.
Yep, so when a student is suspended or expelled, you have that mindset, okay, I'm sad now, I feel like I'm a criminal. If you've been handcuffed, other students, even if they're not handcuffed, they still feel like they did something bad. You're being punished rather than asked, what do you need for us to help you out? It's more like, all right, you're suspended for 7 days and you're not coming on campus. They treat you like a criminal. Which at that time, it tells you, for me, for example, when I was put on probation, I didn't want to go to school anymore because I already felt like people were going to judge me. And it's true, once you get suspended, people are going to look at you, oh, that's the bad kid in this neighborhood, or the bad kid in this school. But in most cases, people don't know you. People don't know you until they actually get to know you. So yeah, so you could end up dropping out because you just don't want to be there no more. You can act out more because you already have that mindset of being a criminal. You get introduced to the court system, and through the court system, you start going down the wrong path. It's harder to get to college once you have a record. Jobs are going to look at your grades or records and stuff and see that, oh wow, the student's acting out, we don't want him at our job. So it affects your whole life.
So Terry, tell us a little bit about what the students that you're working with at Mid-City Can are doing. Where are they in the process, and what are some ideas you have of things that we could do, or would you like us to come up with ideas?
So I let my youth decide what they want to focus on. So I asked them, like, where do you see City Heights in 5 years? Where do you see school board in 5 years? Before the criminal justice, we did skate parks. Now we're focused on school board. And they came up with the idea, we went to Sacramento last year to lobby with our governor and stuff, and that bill came up, Willful Defiance bill. It was passed, but they found a loophole. The loophole is we cannot suspend students from K through 12. We can't put handcuffs on K through 3rd, but 4th through 12, we can still suspend them for a week. We can still suspend them for a certain amount of time. And we were like, we don't want that. That it shouldn't be allowed. That you're missing time. So that's the approach we're taking, is we're ending that policy at a school-wide, San Diego Unified School District. So it's considered a restorative district, but they don't even know what that means. And so my team, the youth council, is creating that structure for them. Is making sure that when restorative practices are in place, then that policy of willful defiance is abolished. There will be no more willful defiance.
And is willful defiance, does it go right up to the line of getting physical, or I mean, like what crosses over? Like in a legislator's
Yes.
mind, I'm trying to think, like, why would they want that loophole? What are they trying to protect?
The loophole is that it's authority. It's teachers will still have the power over students.
Right.
And what we're trying to fight is, if you're having a school climate, a positive school climate, then the teacher has to be it has to be a youth-adult partnership. The student has to get to know the teacher as well as the teacher has to get to know the student.
Right.
You cannot learn unless you don't know who's teaching you. I don't know how you guys feel. How many of you guys like school?
I love school.
All right.
My favorite thing in the
All right.
entire world.
Let me phrase that. How many of you guys like being in the classroom setting with your teacher?
I love
Some teachers are great, right?
Yeah.
But that's because you get to know them, right? You get to know who they are. What about the ones you don't know?
Like, I don't have any teachers that I really don't know this year, but like
I do.
in the past, I had a teacher didn't like me too much. So yeah.
If you don't know a teacher, it's really scary
Yeah.
because I've moved to a lot of schools this year. I've gone from Rio Seco then to like very far place, and then I got to Cajon Park, and I'm not very aware of like all the teachers And so it's kind of like when they start talking about like old teachers or when more teachers come in, like when some teachers come in and like they just sit in the classroom, I get really uncomfortable because I know the whole 8th grade teachers and I'm perfectly fine with them, but when like 7th grade teachers or like 1st grade teachers come in, I just get really uncomfortable because I don't personally know them or like formally know them. So it's just kind of just like, please get out or like, can I leave?
And
Yeah, you're an
And so that's the idea is if you get to know your teacher, the environment of learning is a lot better. What if they build a curriculum that's focused on what you like to do? What if, for example, there's a curriculum focused on your community? So what if there's a government class, instead of teaching you our government, like presidents and stuff, your city council members, your mayor, who makes decisions in your neighborhood that you can see? If you see a pothole, who do you call? If you see that there's a dirt lot, can you use it as a community guardian? Who do you talk to? So the idea of it is when you in Willful Defiance and you put in restorative practices, this positive school climate comes after that. Everything's restored. Australia doesn't have a juvenile home. Australia dismantled this juvenile justice system, and they use restorative practices. So the idea is we could dismantle the juvenile justice system here as well. Of course, there's some, if there's the hard, like the murderers and stuff, there's still some accountability for them. But the majority of crime isn't murders. The majority of crime is just students getting locked up based on a victim, based on a suspect. And there's a way to restore that. In a traditional court system, it's what did you do? He goes, what did you do? Damn, blanking on it. The traditional court system is a punishment.
Yeah, there's always there's a sentence.
Yeah, it's a sentence.
There's a plea, there's a sentence. It's built into the structure.
And so it's not fair, whereas say you did something wrong, but you still have a chance to succeed in life. They're going to punish you for a certain amount of time, and now you don't have that. Some people, like the drug offenses, the Prop 47, these guys are being 25 to life or anything for just, I guess it was a gram of cocaine stuff. And some of them that do get locked up 10 years later, like, wow, why did I do this? I had a future, I could do this, I could do that, now I can't. I know one student, one of my best friends actually, he just got out of jail. He was supportive, he supported me. Whenever some people would bully me, he was there for me. All this stuff, right? Sadly, I haven't seen him go to jail. He came out, he can't get a job. He can't talk to anybody pretty much because everybody thinks he's a criminal. And it started because he acted out in school. It started because he was dealing with stuff at home that got him and hanging out with people that was at school that caused him to go down that route. And he was spending time due to what had happened with him at high school. And I'm glad to see that now he's starting to get involved in my organization. He's on the adult team working on this kind of problem. How many of you guys would consider a circle rather than a punishment? What if what you had to do in the circle, the accountability, how you had to do the homework and stuff, what if those that are in the circle could have been your support group and been like, I'll come early with you, or if you need any help, I'll help you, or hey, if you need me to wake you up, I got you. What if you had a support system for that? Would it be easier? That's what a school positive climate is having support for one
Yeah, because I think when we did the circle of accountability, what you felt was that you were just singled out and you didn't necessarily, you were. So I'm not sure we knew what we were doing, but there you go.
And it's just building up that space as a community. That's what it is. Like right here, your youth group is a community.
So your City Heights group has decided that they want to work on lobbying. Okay. So we need to decide first of all, if this is interesting to you guys at all. And then secondly, if you'd like to do something about it. So let's start with question number 1. Is this an interesting topic for you guys?
And
There's merit in it. Okay.
And if there isn't a topic, say willful defiance, there's a lot of different things within the school to prison, in the perspectives or the prospect of what is school to prison that you guys can tackle. But if willful defiance is what you guys are passionate to actually help change, then we can do
Okay.
that. But if you guys
So
want to say
second
something
step
else-
is, I guess what are the possibilities? The possibilities are, we could focus on, like you guys could learn, you could get trained in restorative justice and take it back to your individual schools and introduce it in your schools. So that's one possibility. Another possibility is, what, Terry, what else could we do?
if you guys,
We could maybe work on trying to train
if you
local
guys,
teachers or
whether
school
it's
board.
teachers, if you guys want to introduce this problem to your school, teachers, friends, if you guys want to tackle on a campaign, I don't know how you guys feel about that. Campaign meaning that you guys, for my youth group, we're going to go to the school board and actually sit with our school leaders or the board trustees and be like, hey, look I'm in your school district, I want you to change this. If you guys feel like you guys want to be those type of leaders, do a campaign, whether it's if you guys want to be a part of our campaign or create your own. If you do want to create your own, I'm more than willing to bring resources for you guys and train you guys and whatever it takes.
So the other idea, the other possibility is that we could work with the Mid-City CAN group, the City Heights youth that are already doing this, and kind of work together on something, which I think would be really fun and interesting. But you guys have to want to do it.
And in August, we do our Sacramento trips to lobby. Everything's paid for. If you guys want to be a part of that, if we start getting involved now and understanding what is
Do you know when it is in August?
We do sometime early in August. We did it last year late, but
Okay.
we found out that LA and then had their schools start at the end of August, so
Okay.
we changed it to the beginning.
Okay.
And we're tied up, so our organization is tied into 14 different cities across across California. We're pretty much we're the San Diego site for the BHC initiative to the California Endowment.
Mm-hmm.
And the California Endowment, how many of you guys ever heard of Blue Cross? So there was Red Cross, Blue Cross. So Blue Cross was this big direct service medical kind of organization. The president there decided to, instead of giving direct service, we want to see changes in communities. So they gave millions of dollars in these 14 cities that were low income, diverse communities that needed change. And so our youth council came out of that. They were like, City Heights is a great place to make that change. And the residents were like, well, we need youth voices. Who better to know our communities than the youth? You guys live it every day. Whether it's school, whether it's your community, you guys see what's happening firsthand. So Lobby Day in August is tied in with all those other 14 cities that got the funding, and you meet almost over 300 different youth from across LA, Coachella, Sacramento, San Francisco. You have Oakland, so you meet youth all across California. And if you do, we'll be lobbying for Willful Defiance. We'll be lobbying for, as well as we do food justice. So if you're a part of the youth council, not only do we focus on this, but I kind of give updates on what my other team members, my coworkers are doing with their groups.
So when your City Height, the youth that you have working on it, is it just the youth council that do it?
Yeah, so
Okay, so the youth council work on a number of different issues, not
Yeah.
just on this.
So our youth council is every Friday. We only have youth attend, unless you're an adult ally. Just like here, you have the two youth coordinators as well as you. So then within that, we have momentum teams. So these are adult and youth teams. That most of them are only adults. So my job is to introduce youth adult partnership to bring youth there. But we focus on our own campaign, which is Willful Defiance, but you guys are more than welcome to join the other teams as well. So when I was a youth member, I fought for transportation justice, as well as food justice, peace promotion, criminal justice, and the skate park. It's whatever you guys feel passionate about. We don't want to stop you guys from growing. If if you feel like you want to take a lead in another team, do it.
Okay. So we could form our own team, or we could come on Friday afternoons sometime. So we want to have some exposure to some youth in City Heights and
Yeah.
work with some, so, but it doesn't I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be the kids in the youth council, but.
Yeah, I was, two of them are actually gonna come tonight that do restorative services.
Oh, really?
But,
Oh, that would have been
but we're
great.
going to Sacramento next month, so
Okay.
they had a meeting to
Gotcha.
prepare for
Okay,
that.
all right, got it.
But yeah, you guys.
So
are
yeah, that would be
welcome.
cool to hear from people who've actually done it.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, if you guys want, I can bring you whenever you guys meet again, or if you guys want to come out to our meetings, it's fine. Well, so this Friday, we're celebrating one of my coworkers. She's now going into her master's program for occupational therapy. So she's leaving, so it's like a
So you're having a
goodbye
party.
celebration.
Yeah.
But after that, then we'll start getting back into our work.
Okay, well, if this sounds interesting, why don't we coordinate our schedules and we'll figure out when summer is quickly coming up, so we'll need to start to get going if we might want to be interested in lobbying in August. So,
And we do have a camp coming up in July.
okay,
So it's called Boys and Men of Color and then Girls and Women of Color. All paid for too. It's in Portola, California, which is right by Reno, was it Nevada? So it's right at the edge of California, all woods, it's beautiful. But there's 1 week specifically of Boys and Men of Color and then 1 week specifically of Girls and Women of Color. I believe girls are July 17th to the 24th and men's 24th to the 31st. That space is for young men or young women to get together to discuss issues that are happening in your communities, as well as learning, like I said, from the other sites. We do zip lining there, so we do team building activities through that. So if we do zip lining, we'll ask at the end, like, hey, how did it feel facing your fear? Or hey, how was it having a support team make sure you weren't going to fall? So getting an understanding of how to work together. And it's a safe space, safe zone. So last year, we teamed up closely with GSA, which is the Gay Straight Alliance. They help out with a lot of workshops. We bring youth from all cultures. There pretty much is no isms. It's a space for all of you guys to pretty much just be happy, experience getting away from your own city. But yeah, so if you guys are involved, that's another opportunity coming up.
all right. So we will discuss amongst ourselves and figure out a plan, and figure out what we can do next. Thank you so much, Sherry.
You're very welcome.
Coming both Sunday and today to share with you, and thank you, Quest and Grace and Aaron and Principal Mayberry for doing a little prep work and introducing this to us. I think it sounds like you guys have all had experiences where at least you feel like you were wrongly accused or wrongly punished, some of you more than others. And you know what a dramatic effect it has on you, so you can only imagine what it would have on a kid who was experiencing trauma and didn't have the support and some of the basic necessities that you guys have. So.
And now traumas can be looked at as a mental illness.
Right.
I don't know if you guys heard, but Obama is trying to do that in Compton. They actually filed a lawsuit against their own city, actually the government, stating that our students are so there's so much trauma where that's why we're not
In that
having
neighborhood.
a great education here at Compton, which is true. And right now it looks like it's winning. Obama's starting to actually do that initiative, saying that trauma is a mental illness and that we shouldn't be judged and have inequity in our educational system based because of an area that's bad, but yet you want to get good schooling. And then since they come in and the bad schooling or the bad students act out, it's not because of what it's not their fault, it's what their society sees, what society is around them. And so. hopefully
Terry has
it's
how old is your baby?
8-month-old.
8-month-old. Very cute. Is that your first?
Yep, first one, so.
Very
when
exciting.
he's
Boy
older-
or girl?
Boy.
Very
So when he's older, that's why I do the work I do, so he doesn't have to struggle what I did. Those policies I was in place, he doesn't have to deal with it. Skate park by my house now, where I'm living at with him, he's gonna be a skater too, grew up National Skateboarding Day. So that's why I do my work, is so people.
Enrique
before us
was a
can have
skater
that.
too.
Still am, still
So
am.
is David. Anybody else, are you a skater? Yeah.
I
there you
skate occasionally.
You
Not
do,
like
Erin?
expert.
go. There you go.
Still practicing.
And so that's an example, is our voices were heard when I was a youth member. So before I was the organizer, I was actually in a youth group like this. And then they offered me the position, I'm guessing that would be Marty, like in the lead, or one of you two, but that's
Angie,
what
you're
happened.
Enrique, yeah.
And you guys pretty much make decisions. So we got to learn that. And that's why I want you guys is to develop, so when you go to college, you know where you want to go. If you want to be in politics, you know how to play politics. If you see your community and you're sad that it's bad, make that change. Don't just run away. Be the fight, be the leader.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you so much. All right, we have a